Hello and welcome back to my channel. It has been a second since I've posted again because, oh my gosh, what a whirlwind. I don't even think I updated on the hurricane because I had my packing video last. I just about have the video up of our road trip, so that should be up really soon on our joint channel. And basically we came back from the road trip and Hurricane Milton hit. And so we had packed up everything. We went to Orlando and evacuated, came back, and now are dealing with like minimal damage around our house. We are so thankful for the position that we're in because so many people have it a lot worse in our community. So, you know, we're just gonna take care of what we have to, but it still doesn't minimize the fact that it's just a headache dealing with insurance for things. But anyhow, we're not gonna spend too much time talking about that, but I wanted to give a little bit of a life update because then I was also sick. I started to film like a cozy fall video, and that day I just started feeling so sick and I was sick for like a week, and I'm finally feeling better. So I asked some questions over on my Instagram about doing a Q&A because I've never done more of like a longer form Q&A where I really got to like sit down and answer things and explain things like to the camera. And I feel like this will just help you guys get to know me a little bit more on a deeper level and just answer some questions that I get a lot. So I think that we should hop in. Also, I have to break for 1 second before we jump in, but Dylan got a coffee maker for his birthday and I have been loving making coffee. I never was a coffee girl, and just suddenly I feel like, I don't know, I turned into an adult overnight and I started to like coffee. So I made this little iced coffee today and it has a creamer from Trader Joe's in it. Just so tasty. So we're just having cozy fall chit chat vibes here. I'm gonna start with this question. I feel like it was a really good question. I love it. Someone said tips for having a slow or cozy life while still doing a lot, which is so funny because this is basically my daily struggle. I feel like the while doing a lot really hit me because I am somebody who gets so easily overwhelmed. That's just something that I've realized about myself and I know about myself. Like, I'm very aware of that, where if we have a lot coming up on our calendar, whether it's just like a lot of people visiting or a lot of things planned for a weekend, I can just get so overwhelmed in my head and feel very like weighed down by that. Even if it's fun stuff that I planned to do and I'm looking forward to doing, I think as I've gotten older, I've definitely become more introverted and really like my slow time. I've definitely learned that I'm like a healthy homebody. Okay, like I love being home. It's not like I'm like a shut-in or anything like that when I say that I'm a homebody, but I love being in my home. I love creating a cozy home space, and I like to do my hobbies around my house. So I definitely like those slower moments at home, and I need those to rejuvenate. I feel like it used to be where I got my energy from other people, so I was more of an extrovert, and now I am definitely way more of an introvert, and I really just like that slow recharge time. So I feel like, to answer the question, I think that one of the things that I really try to do is stick to my morning like routine and things like that. So going out and watering my flowers and taking time to do that and just kind of slowing down and not feeling like rushed while I'm watering my flowers, like just taking it slow and enjoying that as part of my hobby. And, you know, now making my coffee and taking time to like intentionally slow down, like making my bed, going on a walk and listening to the birds, and just not feeling so rushed, because I think that used to be my natural tendency, was just to like rush. I like to get things done, and I'm definitely like, I don't know, like the type of like an achiever, but I think I've slowly like let go of that a little bit. I think it helps as somebody who is a bit of an anxious person to just bring it down. Hopefully this helped, because in some ways I struggle with it myself. Like I said, I do feel overwhelmed, but I feel like these are the tips that have helped me just do it, is just being intentional about it, carving out that time for it, and just like actually mentally slowing down while doing it too, and just appreciating and like romanticizing it. Then we have some more career focused ones. Somebody asked how I got started posting and working with brands. So I feel like this might sound a little bit silly, but I just started posting. I feel like I've thought about like posting online. Like, it's something that I've always loved. I've always loved following different creators and getting like inspired by people online. For so long in my head, I thought about doing it. And I was like, no, like I'm nervous. What if people make fun of me? And I think that's like the common thought that holds people back is like, what are people gonna think about me? And then I think once I moved down to Florida and I knew nobody, it kind of just felt like this new beginning for me where I didn't feel like I was going to be facing people in classes at college who maybe would see my videos, or people in high school or my hometown or anything, which no, I don't even care about their opinions, but still, it just gets in your head. One day, I just said, I'm ripping off the Band-Aid, I'm gonna start posting. So I started posting, but I was like scared to talk in them and really like show who I was, which is funny because that to me is one of the main ways that you get to connect with people and really just like share with people and build that community, because they're following for who you are. So if you are somebody who's thinking about getting started, I feel like I've had a lot of friends who are interested, but they're held back by the idea that, I don't, like, what if people are making fun of you? That is such a scary, scary thought. And I still think about that sometimes, but not nearly as much, because I think at this point, I'm just so confident and in love with what I'm doing that I don't care about it. So I think it's just getting through that thought pattern a little bit, or like, oh, are people gonna care about what I'm posting? But I think some of it is like, if you care and you're sharing something that you love, there's a lot of people who are gonna resonate with that, and I just think that's special. So I feel like it's just like, get out of your own head. To me, I'm like, I don't care what so-and-so from high school is thinking, because I'm so happy and I'm getting to work with these dream brands. Like, I'm getting to work with Etsy. That is so cool to me. And I'm so thankful that I didn't let those limiting thoughts like that hold me back. I think the other thing is that it took me a second to find my footing with like, what do I want to post? So at first I feel like I was just posting and it was like following a trend, and it was just some like random one-off videos, not much to it, or just showing something that I bought without like, I don't know, like true care and thought behind what I was posting. And I started to find my footing a little bit in sharing some of my hobbies, and kind of like how I was talking about, like gardening or baking. Like, those are the things that are special to me, and I feel like kind of make me who I am, and there's stuff that I can share to inspire other people. Even with my film, like I've had people say like, you've inspired me to start shooting film, and like that is the sweetest compliment in the world to me, and makes my day and makes me go like, okay, I'm a small creator, but like this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I think that was a big component for me with like really kind of like taking it to the next level with my posting, was really finding like who I am in the internet space. And then I think as for working with brands, that kind of just came along with it. Like, I think when you start sharing things that you're passionate about and really just creating that community on the internet, like brands are going to take notice. So I set up an email, put it in my bio, and eventually started hearing from brands, which was so cool because I've gotten to work with some really cool brands. At first, a lot of it started off with just gifting, and then it started to turn into paid partnerships, which is really rewarding. And even though I'm a smaller creator, it's not like I'm just like taking anything that comes my way. I feel like you hear people say that a lot, but that is something that's important to me, is that especially as a small creator, like I want my trust with my little community. Like, I'm not just gonna share something to share something. I really want to believe in it, and I guess that is one of the things, is like, I want my space to be an authentic space. Like, I'm not just gonna push this job avenue to push it. Like, I want to do it and build my community in the right way, rather than just like pushing paid partnerships. So that's a little bit on the content creation side of things, but I did have some people ask about how my photography business was going that I started, and like how I got started in photography, and also what my full-time job was before. So we're just gonna unpack all of this career stuff. I'm gonna set this down for a minute. So let's get into it. Basically, I guess we'll take it back to the first like career question of what I was doing before. So before, I was a social media coordinator for a marketing agency, and I was doing more work on the paid end of things rather than doing like a cool social media like Instagram profile. Like, it wasn't not that like creative end of things. It was more running ads for small businesses on Facebook. And essentially, I was really not happy in my job. I think just working corporate America, you know, it has its things, and it also has a lot of really great things about it. I think in the agency space for marketing agencies, I don't know, I've had a lot of other friends who have had poor experiences. I just think that there's some like lack of ethics, and for me, I think that ethical business is really important, like doing business ethically. And there was a lot of stuff that really rubbed me the wrong way, where like paid holidays were taken away, and just the CEO was like yelling at us in meetings. it was just not a positive work environment at all. And I was like, I need to get out of here. I honestly was at one of my lowest points mentally while doing this job. I would tell people about stories from my work and their jaws would just drop. They're like, how is this place real? And I think for me, I sat in it for a while because I felt like I had no other options. I really loved working remotely, and I think it's harder to find remote jobs, and I didn't feel like I was in the place with like my content or anything else, and I didn't know where else I would go, and I just felt so trapped. And that is not a fun feeling, and I feel for anybody who's going through that, because I think that work plays such a big role on just like everything. It's such a big part of our lives. And I think for me, especially, like my mental health just deteriorated, and I was very aware of that, and my family was aware of it, and it just got really, really bad. Like I was really sad in it. And so eventually, like after a lot of conversations, we decided that it would be best if I left my job, which was scary, but also the most exciting thing in the world. Like it was such a relief. I kind of felt like it didn't feel real that it was happening, but it was scary because I was just kind of jumping into the unknown and taking a leap of faith in myself to be able to do content. And also the other portion of that is the photography business. So I said, I'm gonna do photography. I've loved photography for so long, and I'm going to start to do it as a business so that I can have these two sources of income. I am so thankful that I did. Like I could literally cry thinking about it, because I feel like I've gotten my personality back, and I feel happier. I feel lighter on my feet, and like I feel like everyone in my family has noticed a difference, and that is just everything to me. And I know that not everybody has that opportunity like right away, so I'm like so grateful for the fact that I have like built myself up to the position and worked so hard between like content and learning photography to be at this point where I can say like, okay, I'm doing it. As for the photography business, I would say that it's slow. I think that starting any sort of business is tough, because I think a big component of it is word of mouth, and without really having that base, you're not really getting those referrals in the same way. So I'm using social media a little bit, and I've gotten some clients that way, which is super exciting. It is definitely not like a super fast paced growth. Like I'm gonna be 100% honest there, but I feel like I'm doing really well with my content, so that's honestly okay to me. I do love doing the photography business. I feel like I'm learning so much, and in terms of getting into it, YouTube is a big thing. I watch so many YouTube videos, and honestly TikTok videos. I use that like a search engine too, on like how to edit things, how to shoot in like manual. Like I was learning a lot of those settings as well at the beginning to become a lot more confident in that. Even just like the business component of it, I'm watching YouTube videos on, you know, what CRM platforms to use. Like there definitely is that business side of it too, that you're learning how to shoot and edit. You're also learning business processes and contracts and all of that stuff. So I think there's been a big learning curve, but it is so fun for me to learn. Basically, I started more with film photography. I just kind of started doing that for fun before, and really was just loving film photography. I think that it is so nostalgic and happy and like just soft, beautiful photos. And then once I decided that I was gonna jump into photography as a business, I got a new DSLR camera, and I think both of them, it's just practicing. My grandpa always would tell me when I was starting something new, practice, practice, practice. It's so cute. I think that's so true. With film, I would practice taking photos, and I'd look back and go like, okay, what went wrong, what went right? And same with my photos. Like I'm just practicing and I'm learning from there. So when I go back and I start going through the images, I'm like, okay, so that didn't work, or like that did work. I love how this turned out. I think with photography, if you're getting into it, obviously like the shooting mode and having like pictures, like the base pictures turn out okay is a huge part of it. But I think the other end of it is editing. I think editing is so huge, and I think for me, I had a little bit of experience of editing before from just editing on Lightroom for my social media photos. So like I kind of understand how to tweak the coloring to get it to where I want to. So I think honestly just some of it is just like messing around on Lightroom and kind of finding out what you like and what you don't to create that image. So that's basically a catch up on all things career. I'm happy to answer any more questions. Obviously, I feel like there is so many like different things that you could talk about within that umbrella. But we're gonna go back to a little bit of a lighter question. Somebody asked favorite quick meals, which I feel like planning meals for the week can be so fun, but sometimes so like tedious doing it every week because you're like, what are we gonna eat this week? Sometimes I am just lacking inspiration, and it's nice to have some of those like easy, quick meals that you know are good and satisfying and not so blah blah boring to just have ready in your arsenal. I wrote them down so I didn't forget, because I do have, I save like a meal list so I can go and reference it when I'm building out meals, and I think that's been super helpful because when I'm just trying to rack my brain, I can't think of some of the stuff. So if we've made a meal, I add it to the meal list and I can be looking through like chicken dishes and I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. So that's a tip. In terms of like easier, quicker meals, I have putting together any type of bowl. So, you know, it could just be a rice or salad base. You have a protein, you roast some veggies, and then you have a dressing. And it's so easy to put together. It's just obviously you're dealing with like a few components to it, but I feel like it's really good, and usually you can make it pretty nutritious as well. The boring staple chicken dinner, we try to elevate by sometimes doing like more of a chicken thigh or doing a coconut rice that makes it a little bit better, which is so easy to make, and then doing like a roasted veggie. I feel like a roasted veggie is our go-to. We like to do a make your own pizza as an easier one, but we'll do it, we like the dough from Trader Joe's, so we'll do that and like put down some pizza sauce, mozzarella, and we'll do like an Italian or chicken sausage. I forget which one we do, but we'll do like a little crumbled sausage and then do some hot honey. Oh, that's my favorite. It's so, so good. And it's a little bit more than, you know, just like a margarita pizza. Trader Joe's has this chicken piccata, which you can just pop right in the oven. We'll make some pasta with it. And that one is a really, really good one, I would say, for like really easy. So now we're chatting about relationships, which somebody asked about best marriage advice, which is a good question. I haven't thought too much about like marriage advice. We've been together, in case you don't know, we've been together, I think it's like 8 years, 9 years, I don't know. A lot of years. We've been together since high school sweethearts, but we've been married for just over a year now. So I think one of the biggest elements to our relationship, I feel like all relationships are a little different, so not all advice is gonna apply to the same ones, but I think for us, I feel like it's really just having that base of being best friends. Like, we are two people who love spending time with each other. So obviously it's like, you know, we have our independent hobbies and stuff, but we like taking interest in each other's hobbies. When we do stuff with friends, it's fun to have like friends that we can do double dates and stuff with and like share that time together with friends. Obviously, like, Dylan will go do stuff with his guy friends. I like doing like a girls' day stuff that he can't do with me. But I think there is that component that, you know, we just love spending time with each other and sharing and experiences with each other. We just really prioritize that quality time. I think that's probably both of our like love languages. So it's like, oh, let's go for a bike ride together. What do we want to do? Let's go for like a walk in the park, like that sort of thing. I would say the other would be like really being mindful of communication. This is a good one for like, I think in marriage, like managing your expectations that you have for each other and communicating well with that. Because I think for me, sometimes I'll have like expectations, and I think it's just communicating well with it, where Dylan will say like, hey, I didn't know that that was on your list that you wanted to do this weekend, and I didn't communicate well. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't communicate that well. And it's just like being really honest and open, and just, I think, assuming the intent of the other person is positive. So knowing that like they're working for the best interest of the couple, and if in some ways they don't meet your expectations, like it's probably a lack of communication or just the fact that they're human and they're not always going to exceed your expectations or meet expectations. Like, we sometimes have different goals that are going to compete where we're not going to hit that person's expectation. And I think it's just being really mindful, but also being respectful and loving. So if Dylan has something that he values and he wants done, like me trying to do that for him and serve him in that way, I think is important too. Like trying to rise to the occasion for the other person. Like, it's all that. It's just effort, and it's love, and it's care. And yeah, I guess that would be my marriage advice though. This is a question that somebody usually says when I put out a Q&A on Instagram, and that is asking about kids. I feel like anybody who's doing like a Q&A in a relationship, people are like, babies? Like, what's going on there? And this is something that we definitely want so much. Like, we are such family people. We love family traditions and just big family people. But I think we're just trusting God's timing on this one. I think in some ways it's like we just, you know, we've been together for so long. It's always just been the two of us, and we are really just enjoying being young and married. Most weekends what we're doing is going over to our friend's house and doing a game night, and we're like staying till like midnight and coming back, and I think we recognize that that would change. We're just enjoying this young and married period without kids, but I think that it's something that we would want within the next few years. Somebody asked about sharing more about our trip itinerary out west. So I think a lot of this will be covered when our YouTube video gets out, and I started editing it. Dylan was kind of stalling, and I was like, don't you worry guys, I am editing it and it will be out soon, and it's really fun. I also have a lot of videos covering it on my TikTok, and I think in the YouTube maybe I'll break down the itinerary a bit in the caption. And then the other part of this question is any upcoming travel plans, and we do not have any. I would say traveling home for the holidays, we are gonna be doing that. I think we would love to do some more like day trips or weekend trips throughout Florida, maybe in like the springtime or something. That's something that's been on our list since we've moved down and we really haven't done too much of. And then I would say the big trip that's like next on the docket is we have a big family trip planned next summer to do a cruise in Europe, and I am so excited. I cannot stop thinking about it. I've been like planning it on my Pinterest board. I'm just so looking forward to that. And then last question, do we think we will stay in Florida? What a loaded question. I feel like this is the question that a lot of our friends and family ask us. Let's just say I love it here so much. I just feel like I am more creative, I'm more happy, I love having sunshine pretty much year round, I feel more active, and I just feel so inspired and happy living here. I think especially after the hurricane, people have asked about this more, and it's tough because obviously like the hurricanes aren't fun. We're dealing with aftermath at our house, and if it is something that like natural disasters like that get way worse, like yeah, it might scare me from living here a little bit, but right now like I don't see us leaving because we were just so happy, but I wouldn't say that it's like out of the question. It's so hard to know, and I think that, you know, you'll know when you know. I don't know, like this is just such far ahead thinking where it's like right now I just know that I'm as happy as can be here, and I just like can't think like that because I just don't know the future, so it's so hard to answer. I don't know. I love being in Florida, but there is possibility in the future for us. I think we'd always want to have a place here, but I just don't know where life's gonna take us, so I can't answer that, I guess. That's my long, short answer on that. Anyways, that is all the questions that I had. Hopefully you feel like this just helped you get to know me a little bit more. I like doing a Q&A. I feel like I love watching other people's Q&As because I feel like it just lets me get to know them more on a deeper level, and I just think they're so cozy to just sit and chit chat. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. I hope that I'll have like a little cozy seasonal vlog coming soon. That's what I'm thinking for my next video. But thank you so much for watching. I need to finish this coffee now.
Alright.
Let's not show Millie poop on
Yeah,
camera.
no, we keep these.
No.
We keep these.
Come on, Millie, say hi.
Millie, say hi.
Millie, look. You want some coffee?
I'm going up to the store to get some soil and some grass seed for the backyard.
Bye.